Shalom, shalom, shalom. Good morning. Shalom, 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 shalom. Good morning. Good morning to you all. Wanted to welcome you to the show. It's your girl, Aria Benjamin Yisrael. I'm here. I will have my guest join in a little while, or maybe a little bit later the show. Matthew Yehuda returns. We're gonna be here and talk about the laws, folks. And yes, you see that big number on the screen, 613. That's how many we have. That's what we're here about, folks. Okay. So now I'm gonna share my screen again. Now that we have the sound working and we're done with the technical difficulties, and I'm gonna show you on the screen some of these laws that we're going to talk about. And right now we're going over the laws concerning the Nazarenes, aka the Nazarites. Can you think of a Nazarene from the Holy Bible that we know that's definitely a Nazarene or a Nazarite that was living in Nazareth? What's his name? You guessed it right if you said Hamasiach, aka the Messiah, what the Christians called Jesus Christ, which was not his real name. But yep, ding, ding, ding. That is correct. All right. Let's look at the book of Numbers. You see book, chapter, and verse. Okay, verse 3. I'm not going to hide it from you, folks. So we're talking about the Nazarite Law. Okay, here's one of them. Well, a couple right here in this verse. He shall separate himself from wine and strong drink. What strong drink? That liquor, that hen, that Remy Martin, a little cup of gin, okay? And shall drink no vinegar of wine. Vinegar of wine, yes, yes, yes. Red wine vinegar. See that? You can't even have that. Vinegar of strong drink. We know what that is. That hardcore liquor, that whiskey. Neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dry grapes. Now, what's the dry grapes? Raisins. See that? Them California raisins. Leave them alone, folks. Do not put them in your grocery cart. It's not worth it. If you are a Nazarite or a Nazarene, this applies to you, okay? Now, they keep saying in the Christianity world, the laws are done away with. I'm here to tell you, folks, my friend, that is not the case, okay? And I'm going to show you that later on in this show as well. And my co-host will definitely be able to pull up a bunch of scriptures off the top of the dome that tells you the law is forever. But let me just go over some of these laws because a lot of folks don't realize these laws apply to them. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it, but it's fine. You can see it even bigger. It's no problem, okay? Now, here is Numbers chapter 6, verse 4. All the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. Okay? This is applying to the Nazarite, okay? Now, let's go to the next verse. Okay, good. I'm about to there. Oops. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head. Okay, these are the folks the men that have to grow their hair long. See, they can ever not put a razor upon their head. Okay, until all the days be fulfilled in which he separated himself unto the Most High Yahweh. He shall be holy and shall let the locks of his hair. Shalakia. Let the locks of the hair of his head grow. Okay. So you know why they had hair. When people describe the lamb that have, had out-of-body experiences, had visions, and claim they have seen him, they describe him with, a certain amount of hair, and that's probably why. You see it right here. It's the law, okay? Now, what's going on, Matthew Yahoo? Oh, good. Now you add to the stream. Wonderful. Okay, so now let's go to verse 6. Okay, I'm gonna point my little mouse over here so you can see that. Highlight it. My mouse so you can see the words though. All right, verse 6 is a course applying to Nazarites that he shall not enter any covered structure where there is a dead body. So you can't be going to funerals, folks. If you're a Nazarite, you're a Nazarene, you're not supposed to be around any dead bodies.
Hey, Shalom, sis. I'm here. I heard you say that. I'm on here, but I'm gonna step away for a few minutes. So let's see. Probably I'll be back in about 5-10 minutes or something like that.
No problem. Take your time. Do what you gotta do. I'll be here going over these laws.
Yeah, this is an interesting topic because a lot of people think the laws is done away with.
Right. It's sad, but we're gonna point them out.
All right, Shalom. I'll be back.
Shalom. All right. So let's see. Where was I at? I was at So verse 6 that he should not enter any covered structure where there is a dead body. Okay. So it says on the King James version, apocryphal version, on verse 6, all the days that he separated himself unto the Lord, he shall come at no dead body. Okay. Now, again, like I was saying, you can't even go to a funeral. But look at 7. Right? That a Nazarite shall not defile himself for any dead person. Right? And that's being I'm sorry, 6. That's, like I said, being near dead bodies. You can't have an occupation or a job that deals with dead bodies. If you're a Nazarite or Nazarene, you cannot go to funerals, no matter who it is, right? You cannot see your loved ones in the funeral once they go ahead and pass away. You just can't be around that, right? It's going to defile you, and you don't want to be defiled. Okay. Now let's go ahead to verse 9. And if any man die very suddenly by him, and he have defiled the head of his consecration, then he shall shave his head in the day of his cleansing. On the 7th day shall he shave it. These are all laws. Okay? We're not making this up. We're definitely not making this up. It's all confident in scripture, okay? Let's see. The Nazarite Law is in verse 9, that the Nazarite shall shave his hair when he brings his offerings at the completion of the period of his Nazariteship, or within that period if he has become defiled. Okay. So these are what applied to the Nazarites. So I figured I'd point that out. Okay. Now let's go and talk about let's see. Should I go over wars? I think because people do like wars. Let's do ritual, purity and impurity. These are probably some that you would not realize or think about, like, oh my goodness, look at there. So let's go to the book of Leviticus. And it says chapter 11 for a couple of these. So I'll go over those. Chapter and verse. It says verse 29 and 30. So we'll go there. Okay. So verse 29, Leviticus says, now I'll scroll up so you can see book, chapter, and verse. I am not making it up. Oh, it's way up there. But I'll go up here so you can see it. Okay. And now I will go down to the verse. These also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth, that weasel and the mouse and the tortoise after his kind. Yeah, don't eat that, folks. Do not be eating turtle. Do not eat mouse. That's disgusting. Don't eat the weasel. They're gross. Don't even touch it, okay? And it says verse 30. And the ferret and the chameleon and the lizard and the snail and the mole. Ew. It's crazy. It's got to be spelled out for folks not to eat this, but they don't want to put that food down. Okay, let's see. Verse 34, it says, of all meat which may be eaten, that on which such water cometh shall be unclean. And all drink that may be drunk in every such vessel shall be unclean. Okay. And again, we're going over ritual purity and impurity. Okay. Now it says go to 39. And this is going to hit on what we were talking about with the Nazarites. Okay. Because it ain't just them when it comes to dead body. Look at this dead carcasses. Verse 39, we still in chapter 11 of Leviticus. And if any beast of which ye may eat die, he that toucheth the carcass thereof shall be unclean unto the even. Even means evening, right? That evening. That's going to the nighttime. Folks, touching this dead, unclean carcass, it makes you unclean and defiled that whole day. Because until the evening, it's not worth it, folks. Okay, so we just got to pay attention to these things, so that way we don't make ourselves impure and unclean, or aka defiled. Okay, now let's jump over to Leviticus chapter 12, verse 2 through 5. Okay, and this is going to go over the woman being unclean during, let's find out. Okay, speak to the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived seed, okay, if a woman have become pregnant, which is a beautiful thing, and born a man child, so gave birth to a son, then she shall be unclean for 7 days. How many of you women gave birth to a son? Did you know you was unclean for 7 days? I didn't know that back then too, 15 years ago. I didn't know that either. I was unclean for 7 days. I was so ignorant. According to the days of the separation for her infirmity, Shlakia, shall she be unclean. According to the days of her infirmity, she be unclean. Okay? Now, let's go to verse 3. And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. So one good thing, at least the laws of this land allows when you have a son in the hospital, they have you bring him back that first week to get circumcised. So I believe we all that have given birth in this land here have been able to keep this law. If you had a son, right, they made this law here. They make sure that they get circumcised as early as possible, because bless their hearts, it's so painful. They won't be aware and won't have to endure that pain as bad if they was older and aware what's going on and having to go through that. So we did do the right thing if you did get your baby boy circumcised, right? Cleanliness is next to holiness. Okay. Now let's check out the fourth verse. Okay. And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 3 and 30 days. So she gonna be bleeding for 33 days. It's a spot on, because this stuff does happen. Okay. So keep that in mind. And when we bleed, we are defiled, we are unclean, ladies. Okay. So this is just putting us back into remembrance and putting these laws back in our heart that was, beat out of us when we had to learn this new language and be in this new land and stuff. So we had to come back to the Bible, come back to the Hebrew, and think like how they did culturally in the Hebrew, and the Israelite way and get back to the roots, okay? The chickens shall come home to roost. She shall touch no hollow thing, nor come into the sanctuary. So see, when we're unclean and defiled during that time of the month, you're not supposed to be coming to church, okay? The sanctuary is the temple. In modern times, we're used to hearing the word church and thinking that's the same place, but the place of holiness, right? The place where you would do your worshiping, the place where you do the sacrifices to keep the church holy. And I know some people out there thinking, we don't do sacrifices anymore. We're supposed to. And we'll go over that as well. Okay. Until the date of her purifying be fulfilled. Okay. Now, how many does she have because she gave birth to a son? 33. We read it up here. Okay. So just keep that in mind. All right. So, now, but look right here, verse 5. If she bear a maid child, what's the maid? A female, like a little baby girl. She continues to be unclean for 2 weeks. So 7 days, which is 1 week for a baby boy when she give birth to a little son. But she give birth to a daughter, she's unclean for 2 weeks. As in her separation, she's got to be separate from everybody else because she's defiled, okay? So she can have that baby with her because she's nursing, giving that baby that milk, right? And take care of the baby and just bonding with the baby. So the baby won't be unclean, right? But she will be unclean, and you not supposed to be near, the family. If you have other kids and your husband, you don't want to taint them and have the household unclean and everything you touch, right? So back in them times, they had all this land and houses and stuff, and she had to go off to the probably the other house, and it could be a house of defilement. Every time she give birth, she go there. Every time her menstruation, she go there, and that way, she's not being defiled and being around other people in the household. If there's other people in the household, okay, and she shall continue in the blood of her purifying 60 days. Now, score equals to 20 years. So 3 score equals 3 times 20, which equals 60. Then it says and 6 days. So 66 days. Wait a minute. The sun is 33 days of her being unclean and unto the blood. And now for the girl child, it's 66 days. That's double. Wow. Then they had 1 week for the boy of being, unclean, and then it's 14 days for the female child being unclean. So when we give birth, ladies, to little girls, we are doubly unclean, right? For a longer period of time. We have to get purified. So the purification is losing the blood for all those days. We have to get purified. We lose the blood for 33 days for male child, for little baby boys, okay? And when we have birth to a little baby girl, we are losing blood for 66 days, and we're unclean for 14 days.
Y'all losing blood for 66 days?
Yes. And she shall continue in the blood of her purifying 66 days.
Oh, you talking about for a pregnancy?
When you give birth,
Right. Okay. All right.
right, to the female child. And then
Now, how does that match up with what the world tells us? How does that match up? Is that like the world say how long y'all gotta wait before y'all like could do stuff again or whatever, get it popping again?
They say, oh yeah, they say 6 weeks you're not to be intimate because you can easily get re-pregnant again instantly.
Okay, but they say, but it's a certain amount of time. If I'm understanding this correctly, of course, I'm not a female, so I don't know. That's why I'm trying to get a thorough understanding. Is it 6 weeks to not do anything for health reasons, or because you could just get pregnant just like that?
You just get pregnant. It's like that.
Okay, so it's not a safety reason for the female. So if she wanted to, right after she had a child, she could go back and get it popping again.
Well, everybody is different, but sometimes you get cut down there. Sometimes you get ripped. Some people have stitches. So it's a good time to heal. I'm not going to necessarily say it's bad for you. They always say, be careful, don't do anything, try to hold it out because you can get pregnant again, like really fast. And I know they kept saying your organs are they lower when you give birth, and so they still sitting down there low, so they real close to
Okay.
those walls, the canal, and probably they ain't got to travel far.
And you said 6 weeks, right?
Yes.
And the
How
Bible
many
says
days that equal to?
And the Bible says, well, if we count 7 days and 6 weeks, that's 42 days.
Okay.
Yeah. Seven times 6, 42.
And
And the Bible says 66. So there's like another 3 weeks almost that the Bible was saying you're supposed to chill. I guess the Most High want to make sure you really, healed up. And man really don't care because he's not going exactly with what the Bible says. But and of course they don't believe that anyway because they probably think these laws are done away with. So
right. And so there is definitely, bleeding after you give birth. They send you home and you're bleeding, for several days, like goodness. And I remember mine was a long time. I didn't even know. I was like, damn, what's going on? But they tell you don't, be intimate. So if you don't do that part, you're able to just let the body cleanse out during those weeks and or days, whatever, people have gone by. And at least that portion will be good to go. But if you're around people and you're touching things that they're touching, you will be, defiling. You can make them defiled, and things that you touch that they may touch can be defiled.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
So some of these it may, been doing it, even though you're over here in this land and everything. Depending on, like I said, some people have to have, surgeries. Some have, a C-section. Some don't have a natural. So, I've never had a C-section. So I'm sure, I remember they are really out and about, and they can't even, I think if you sweep a broom, it could mess that up. Of course, I heard it's years ago, technology, and they may have gotten better over time with it. But back in the day, I remember a girl had it. She said you can't even sweep a broom when you have that. You can't do anything because I guess it could become unstitched or whatever.
Giant.
And it could, tear and all this little stuff. So they was more miserable. But by having a natural birth, like I did, and having it down in that location, I was able to drive myself home, move around, cook, clean, and stuff like that. And I healed, much quicker from my stitches that I received. So I feel like depending on the scenarios, I didn't do anything anyway because they had a lot going on and stuff. And I don't know, maybe C-section people might be, bleeding too. They give you some powder, they give you a bed pan and a squeeze bucket to rinse off down there. And like, goodness, there's a lot going on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And what we're going over again is the ritual purity and impurity laws. So we got so many categories and scenarios when it comes to being clean and unclean. And so that's why we went over this one. Okay. And now let's go over Leviticus chapter 13. Do a couple more. I'm going to do all of these. A couple more. That's the next chapter. Okay. You see, I'm giving you book, chapter, and verse. And it says 2, verse 2 to 46. I'm not going to go over all of those. But 2 to 46 is a leper that's unclean and they defiles. So it's probably going to go over a story of someone who did that. Yeah. When a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising, when that skin rises like a boil or stuff, a scab, a bright spot, that's the leprosy. And it can be in the skin of his flesh like the plague of leprosy. There you go right there. Then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest. Who's Aaron? Moses' brother. Hello. Or unto one of his sons, the priest. See, you gotta go to Aaron or one of his sons, and that bloodline of Moses in them. So you have to go to a high priest. Because leprosy is a real big deal. See that to make yourself back to being pure and get prayed for. Okay. So that goes over up until, like I said, the 42nd verse, all about lepers and stuff. The leper shall be universally recognized as such by prescribed marks, and all other unclean persons should declare themselves as such when they are in that category. Okay. It talks about also in those verses how the leprous garment is also unclean and it's defiling. So don't even touch their clothes. Any island wearing is all gonna be defiled. Again, defiled means unclean. Okay, and their house is also defiled. That's being mentioned from verses 2 to 46. Okay, just kind of throwing those things out there. Now let's go to Leviticus 15, verse 6. I think the men gonna like this one. It's talking about the copulation. I said 6, not 5. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, 16. I'll go straight on 15 is fine. Okay, here we go. If any man's seed of copulation go out from him. Now, it says seed of copulation go out from him. Only one thing that can go out, and we know it ain't urine, right? So let's put it together, okay? And you know the seed creates, a wah, wah, okay. Now y'all get the hint, y'all get it, okay? Then he
Yo,
shall
you
wash
feeling good
all
this
his,
morning, ain't you?
huh?
I said you feeling good this morning, ain't you? With the wine and all that.
I mean, it's afternoon time frame, really,
Oh,
midday, but,
okay.
I mean,
It's all good. Do your thing, sis.
yes, whatever. If a man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the evening. Okay? So once you get through with the good old do, make sure you bathe yourself and wash and scrub with soap and water all that flesh. Okay? I know sometimes young females are raised by the moms when it comes to that portion, telling you, before you're intimate, make sure you have had a shower, right? And after intimate moments, take another shower, right? It's a cleanse, right? And who would have thought in the Christianity, I didn't know that was going with the law, right? Washing your flesh and bathing yourself, washing all that stuff off, whether it's on the outside of your body or the inside, you know what I'm saying? You are defiled. But it says you're unclean until the evening. So I did not realize in my Christianity days that means that I was unclean until the evening time, right? From that, but yeah, that's what it says. So again, man, just keep that in mind, okay? But the next day when the sun comes up, you will be back to being clean, okay? It is not forever, it's just temporary, okay? Let's keep that in mind. But that's all I'm saying when it comes to that. I figured you might find a little bit of entertaining, and if you wasn't aware. And look at this one, the next one, verse 17. And every garment and every skin whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water and be unclean until the even. Every garment, all the clothes, see that, all his skin, where on is the seed of copulation, right? And same with your skin, the female, right? Wherever that liquid has touched, right? If it's got in your clothes, all that's also the same category. Defiled shall be washed with water and be unclean until the even. What's the even mean? That is the evening, folks. Nighttime, right? Goes to bedtime, everything. Just keep that in mind, okay? It say wash with water. That's a whole bath. If you don't put soap, so please use soap and water, okay? And scrub in every crevice. Get up in there, dig, and with that rag, that sponge, and get up in there. Open it up every crevice you can, and wash with that soap and water. Get it nice and clean, okay? Look at that. The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water. I already said it before we going on. I knew it. I'm like, Go ahead and bathe yourself and scrub and wash every inch of your body, top to bottom. Do one time, get the lotion and oil off your skin, wash another round. To get really, once that lotion and stuff is off, wash again and to really get that skin and to do one wash. Wash yourself more than once. Get that soap water, rinse it off, get it again. Make sure you thoroughly wash and cleanse yourself. See that? They shall both bathe themselves in water. Again, that includes soap, okay? And be unclean until the evening. You're unclean for the rest of that day. Okay, to the nighttime comes, okay? So again, keep that in mind, all right? It's not just one party, it is both parties involved. And if a woman have an issue, here we go. Verse 19. I know. That's the messenger. If a woman have an issue and her issue in her flesh be blood, it's telling you, well, what's the issue? Could it be? Here we go. And her issue in her flesh be blood. That's the issue. So let's go again. If a woman have a blood issue going on, right? What blood issue could it be? And for one, right? Think. There it is. You already know, right? She shall be put apart 7 days. Okay. Women, we are supposed to be put apart 7 days because we are defiled. We are unclean. And whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the evening. Okay. I didn't write this down. It came from the Most High. It's the law. It is what it is. We gotta, try to do the best in our ability to have it that way. So we can't be touching people when we are unclean, okay? Because we're gonna mess them up, make them unclean, and we don't want to do that, okay, ladies? So keep that in mind, all right? Again, these laws still apply, and we will go to scriptures that are precepts upon precepts that support that thesis. Again, if you want to join and bring the smoke, no problem. The link is already in the chat. Feel free to comment and join in, and you can voice what you think, and we can go, tail for tail, no problem. We can talk about it. That's how we grow spiritually, okay, and gain better understanding. But if you think your life and your soul is worth that gamble, and you don't want to complete these laws, good luck, Chuck. Because they are up in heaven following all these laws. They don't go away. So you might as well get your practice right now on this earth, because you're going to be up there in heaven doing the same thing if we are so blessed to go and enter into such a beautiful place. When you're in the kingdom, the New Jerusalem, guess what, folks? They're doing the same laws, all 613. When he says them things are forever, he means that, folks, right? Everything in the Bible is written is his word. His word does not disappear. It does not fade away. It doesn't go away. It doesn't float on a rainbow and slide down the pole. It don't float in a balloon somewhere. The law is here forever. Sorry to bust your bubble. So you might as well get the practice in now. Get your mind in the habit of thinking Hebrew and Israelitish and get to that point and accept it. This is what it has to be done. Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I'm gonna let you get back to some of these laws.
Sure.
But I'm just gonna throw a couple of scriptures out, just so you can gain the understanding.
Okay.
While
Well,
we, not you, but the people, because I really think you see this thing the way that I see it, and this is in Red Letter Bible, what I'm getting ready to read. I don't know if you want to share your screen, Ariel. I can share mine, or you can just keep what you got up. That's totally fine. Oh, you got it up there. Cool. All right. Turn to Matthew. We'll start in the book of Matthew.
First chapter?
No, chapter 5. Yeah. So read verse 10. Matthew chapter 5, verse 10.
Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
So that's saying, I mean, that's pretty much self-explanatory. Now, of course, if there was somebody on here, we could go into teaching what righteousness is and persecuted. Because again, as we've been saying, when we look at some of these words in the English and we go back to its original text, which some believe to be the Greek,
Right.
which it is not, but the Greek may go against your understanding. So you go back to the Hebrew to get a thorough understanding of what some of these words meant or mean.
Right.
So I just wanted to point out verse 10 that says, some people are going to be persecuted for righteousness' sake, but the kingdom of heaven is the end goal right here, right? And that's what y'all want to see. That's what y'all want to get to, right? So go down to verse 13.
Okay. Verse 13. Chapter 5.
Yeah.
Book of Matthew.
Yeah.
Ye are the salt of the earth. Who are he talking about? But if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men.
So he's saying that somebody, right? Because this isn't a point. We just saying that the laws ain't away, but we could go into who that is at another time on another topic. But we try to stay on topic over here. So he says you are the salt of the earth. Who's that you? Like I said, another time. But if the salt lost its savor, Aria is she told y'all I think in the last her last live that she is a Benjamite. She believed that through the diaspora, her family was dropped off at Trinidad and Tobago. So she believed that she is a Benjamite because of that, and on her father's side, we are who our father is.
That's right.
And that's in the book of Numbers, I believe, is where we can find that. That's how they figure. That's how the Bible finds identifies you. But anyway, salt, right? It's a seasoning. So if it loses flavor pretty much with that savor is like losing its flavor, like, or any seasoning, right? And you put this seasoning on it, what good is it for? What good is what's the point of putting seasoning on something and it brings no flavor? You might as well just throw it out, right?
Exactly.
It's not good for anything. That's what he's saying right here. What's the point? Now go down to verse 17. Read 17 through 20.
Okay, here's verse 17. I will go down to verse 20. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, Christians, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Now, here is verse 20. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
All right, so in rewind, verse 20. For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. Remember, the Messiah said listen to the Pharisees and the Scribes.
That's right.
They do have a level of righteousness, people. We're all, let's just get this out the way. We all are not on the same level. If we was out here playing basketball, it's somebody out here that could cross me over, could dunk on me, probably faster than me. We're not all on the same level. Somebody might be a little bit more righteous than I am, and I can accept that. That don't make them better than me. That just means, maybe they know a little bit more. Maybe they was chosen to do this and chosen to do that, just like the Israelites were chosen, was the chosen nation. And Judah is the chosen tribe out of that nation. And this wonderful brother right here that gave his life and wrote it in blood for us, he was chosen out of Judah to be our Messiah from the Almighty Yahweh. But whosoever shall, so he's saying that the scribes and the Pharisees have a level of righteousness. And he said that, and unless your righteousness exceed them, you're not even going to see the kingdom, right? Because the Messiah commanded that we listen to the Pharisees and the scribes. Listen to what they say because they know what they're talking about, but don't do as they do. He said that. We can pull that up if need be. But 19, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men to do so shall be called least in the kingdom. So he went from not entering the kingdom to least to greatest in the kingdom to least in the kingdom to greater in the kingdom. So whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men, so shall he be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever shall do and teach them the same shall be called great in the kingdom. So I just showed you in 2 verses, and I just said that there's a hierarchy to this. There's some that are not going to enter the kingdom. There are some that are going to be least in the kingdom. There are some that are going to be great in the kingdom.
That's right.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so I'm backing up what I'm saying. For verily I say unto you, and I'm reading it in rewind, right? Because this Bible is full of mysteries, and sometimes you got to you have to let the word, let the Spirit guide you. A lot of people probably never even read this backwards, like what we would consider to be backwards. They would read it straight down. I'm reading it down up. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Then it says, think not that I come to destroy the law or prophets. I am not come to destroy but fulfill. Doesn't it seem like, if you read that, right, if you just read it like I just read 17 through 20, if you read 20 through 17, it seems like it can flow either way.
That's right.
Did you notice that, Aria?
Yes, definitely.
It seemed like that, right? It seemed like I could read it. It seemed like I could read that either way, and it still flows, right? So what that tells me is this is not a novel. This isn't to be studied nor read like any other book. Because most books, right, I could go to probably pull up a book right now and try to read it like that, and it would probably make no freaking sense. Right?
Right.
Probably will make no sense. Probably. Most of the time it won't. But we're going to focus, because we talking about this law right here. So for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Well, what is a jot and a tittle? That's what somebody will probably ask. Those are Hebraic statements. Jot is like at the beginning and tittle is at the end. So it's like A to Z. So he's saying till heaven and earth pass, which, by the way, somebody will have to show me when did heaven and earth pass. They'll have to show me that in history or show me that biblically when it happened. Don't say it was 70 AD, because then we wouldn't even be talking about this right now, because there's other prophecies that would have had happened. One jot or one tittle shall no wise pass from the law. But then he said, he think not that I come to destroy the law. He didn't come to destroy the law. Here's a teaching that I do that you can't find in your seminary schools or you can't find anywhere, right? It's 613 commandments, right? The Messiah is the 614th commandment. He came to fulfill that law. That word fulfill does not mean fulfill it in the way that people take it and think that it's done and it's over with. That's why everybody ain't supposed to teach this, because people just take it for face value. Everybody's not gonna dig into this. That fulfill means to fill in the void, be like an executioner of it, right? Put some order back into it. Be the example of it. There, and I could go to the actual like Greek or Hebrew to show you the many different definitions of that word fulfilled. And then when he says until all be fulfilled, well, what does that mean? Not just his death, burial, and resurrection, until the prophecies of old have been fulfilled, until we know how to do these laws in the modern times have been fulfilled. I seen, that just made me think about something, man. I seen something with this dude, this pastor. He looked like he a prosperity pastor. He was telling his people that if you want Jesus to come back, y'all need to give more money to the church.
Wow.
That's what he said. He ain't say nothing about no laws. He said, give more money to the church. And man, that was hilarious. I was like, I can't believe this dude said that. But hey, people probably be listening to it. But anyway, you know how these pastors is. They want that bread. And you know what? Right. If y'all dumb Christians want to continue to give your money to that because your lifestyle is good and you think that that's the way to go. I'm not saying be out here and be poor, because none of us want to be poor. Because believe me, when I tell you, you want to be rich, all right? That's just right. Like Aaron Israel was given a message. He's not the only one. I will say that. And I wish that brother would come back and make another video, man. I want to see Aaron Israel come back and make some videos, because people was talking about him on YouTube. You know, he said he died and went to heaven, and he saw the Most High, and he said he's black as the ace of spades, and things of that nature. And I actually believe him, man. Most of what he said, but what I don't believe on what he said, and I think maybe he was confused or had a misunderstanding of what he may have saw. He said that I think he called him. Oh, he called him Yahweh and Yahweh ben Yahweh. He said that Yahweh ben Yahweh is the son of Yahweh. I agree, but then he said Yahweh ben Yahweh is Yahweh, and that I disagree. And I think later on today we may do a live on who's who and on that, and how they're separate and how they've always been separate. And also that the Messiah was created. That's another big topic outside of those laws. We just did a show yesterday on that. It was quite long, and people was interested. But anyway,
yeah.
So I wanted to just point that out real quick. I'm gonna stop here in just a second, but I want to pull up something. Let's just do this simple. Let's do something simple. Go to Google and type in the definition of a law.
Okay, definition of a law.
What does it say right there?
Law.
Okay, the system of rules which a particular country or community recognizes as regulating the actions of its members, and which it may enforce by the imposition of penalties. Another definition says a rule defining correct procedure or behavior in a sport. This is from the Oxford Dictionary.
Okay. Now go to some of those words that are similar to that right there, right in that same section you was at. You got it small on your screen. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Read that. What did it say?
Rule, regulation, principle, convention, direction, instruction, guideline, and practice.
And practice. Okay, what about the one above that? Can you click on some of those and read some of those words? Yeah.
Rules and regulations, system of laws, body of laws, constitution, legislation, code, legal code, a chart, a jurisprudence.
Okay. So those now we see we're saying that this is some type of system. It's rules, right? It's things to follow or whatever, right? That's what the English definition of these words are. Other word is. So let me see something here. I'm going to go to.
So on dictionary.com, any written or positive rule or collection of rules prescribed under the authority of the state or nation as by the people in its constitution. And I wanted to go over that one because we do have positive and negative laws out of the 113.
Oh, that's interesting. Can you elaborate on that? What you mean by that?
Yes, like let's see. The positive, for example, some of the positive laws is, believing in the Most High, loving Him, fearing Him, worshiping Him, right? Doing the burnt offerings, the sin offerings, the guilt offerings, the peace offerings, the meal offerings, right? Those are your positive ones. And you have negative ones. For example, a negative one is not to make images for the purpose of worship, not to make an idol, even for others to worship, right? So your negative laws is telling you what not to do. Do not do this. Do not do that.
Oh, I see what you're saying by okay.
Right?
Okay.
The positive laws tells what to do. Put the Most High first and foremost, right? You are to blow the shofars and the sanctuary. That's the law that's supposed to be done. It's not an option, right? Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, go ahead. I guess you can read some more of them laws if you want, but I just wanted to point that out because I do have a lot more that I could go into about why these laws aren't done away with. But I figured I'd go to the head honcho. What did the Messiah say?
That's right.
He said it's not done yet.
That's right.
Until and
what he say trumps what the pastor say.
Oh yeah, definitely trumps what the pastor say. And not only that, it trumps what you guys allegedly misuse Paul's writings for.
That's right.
Go to Romans 6:14. I'm gonna show y'all how if you don't understand this Bible, you got contradiction after contradiction after contradiction. We went over this one before already, but
you said chapter 6 and 14, right?
Yeah, Romans chapter 6, verse 14.
For in sin shall not have dominion over you, for ye are not under the law, but under grace.
Right. Now, so a lot of Christians believe that a lot of different things. Oh, we're not under the law at all. Some are a little bit more sophisticated, and they would say, well, we're not under the Levitical laws. Well, I don't even know if that's more sophisticated, because if you say we're not under the Levitical laws, that means some of those laws that Ariel has, are all of those laws, as a matter of fact, are done away with, because every one of those 613 laws are in the Levitical priesthood. They're in the times of Moses, right? The first five books, which means Moses wrote those allegedly, right?
That's right.
So if this is what Paul's saying, he's saying that the laws of Moses are done, even though they're the laws of the Most High, but the book says the laws of Moses, and we know better than to believe that it's the laws of Moses. But if a good job, look, she knew a great way to show what I was talking about with the contradiction. So she went to Romans 7:1. Paul just said, "You're not under the law; you're under grace." But then he turned right around in the next chapter and say, can you click on that to make it bigger?
Sure, definitely.
No, click on it. Just click on it. Yeah, like that. Yeah, like that. It says, know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law. So if you don't know, he not speaking to you according to how it's written. For I speak to them that know the law. Well, why would he be speaking to them that know the law if the law is done away with? How that the law have dominion over man for as long as he lived. So he's saying if you know the law, you know that it has dominion on you for as long as you live. But then he just said that the law is done away with. I'm not done with Paul yet. So go to the book of Romans. Chapter 5. And I think click on, just scroll down, go to verse 9. Read verse 9 and go over and keep reading till you, and I'll tell you when to stop.
Much more then, being now justified by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him.
He said we're gonna be saved through wrath through him, through his blood. There's when you click on that Aria, you can go ahead and click on it. Instead of doing that, see right down there at the bottom.
Next verse.
Yeah.
For if when we were enemies, we were reconciled to Yahweh by the death of his son, much more being reconciled, we shall be saved by his life.
Okay, so he said, hold on. He said we was reconciled. Okay, go ahead, keep going. Go ahead, just read it. You can read 11.
You sure?
Yep.
And not only so, but we also joy in Yahweh through our Lord, Hamashiach, the Messiah, by whom we have now received the atonement. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned.
Now, sin is breaking the law.
That's right.
Go ahead.
For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law.
Okay. So in order, like the reason why we're gonna stop right there, like he says, for until the law, sin was in the world. So he's saying until the law came about, sin was in the world. But he just said we're no longer under the law, we're under grace. That's not what that meant. What he meant by that was, guess what, guys? You are now under the law and grace. When he says you are no longer under the law but grace,
that's right.
You have to remember we're reading a translation. This is not how Paul taught. You have to remember that. We're reading an English translation. Paul did not talk like that. If that was the case, we would not have Strongs. We would not have etymology books. We would not have scribes. Everything that they gave us would be just written in English. They wouldn't have to go back to these other manuscripts, the Paleo manuscripts, to try to put this in words. And even when they still put it in the baby English, by the way, because English is a babe language, by the way, it ain't a historical language. I think most historians will tell you that these folks were speaking something else before English came about.
That's right.
Paul, in that 7:1, Paul was saying, like, I know my brethren, how the law, I'm sorry, not 6:14, when he was like, it was like, we are under grace and law, or law and grace. And there's more to that. There's more fruits to that for salvation. It's grace, it's laws. You have to repent. There's a lot of different things you have to do, that would be simpler had we been following the law, statutes, and commandments to begin with. But anyway, this verse right here, right? So what he's saying is, if sin is here and sin is around, then the law must still exist.
That's
but sin is not imputed when there is no law. So do we all sin? Have we all sinned before?
Definitely.
So in order to have sin, you must have law. One doesn't work without the other. Some people teach that the sacrificial systems is done away with. That's not true. Part of, since the Messiah was the law, right? He was 613. He practiced and did 613.
Right.
When he died, right, that blood counted as the atonement for the sacrifice. He was the ultimate sacrifice, right? Doesn't the book say the sacrificial lamb? Don't y'all remember before he came in the flesh, how people would have to atone for their sins or give up a animal sacrifice at the altar, in the temple and stuff like that? Well, he came to do that for you, so it's not done away with. And then the Levitical laws, which is all of them, all 613 laws, are not done away with, because some of those laws are still in modern day times. Now, because there's no temple, certain things cannot be done, obviously, right? So his blood is covering us for those things that cannot be done until he comes back to establish his millennial kingdom. There are prophecies that speak towards that. I'm going to let Ariya go ahead and probably take over and read some more scripture to y'all, but I wanted to give y'all a taste of, you hear what Paul said, you see how it seems like it's a contradiction if you don't understand. The Messiah already told Paul that it's not done away with. So, and Paul is nowhere, I ain't gonna say nowhere near, but Paul is not your authoritative or authorized to overwrite nor oversee what the Messiah says.
That's right.
So even if you wanted to say, look, Paul said it's done away with, did the Messiah say that? The Messiah say you're no longer under the law, you're under grace? No, you can't show me that nowhere in no scripture. But go ahead, sis.
Definitely no problem. Let's see. Let's find something that was not mentioned. These laws are not that much to go by. If you look at it, it's not a whole lot. A lot of it is kind of like easy. It's like common, everyday things. So I think if you look at it like that,
yeah,
you
people
can
get
be
scared when you say
encouraged.
613, and they
Right.
was doing that back in these older biblical times. We still living in biblical times, but people ain't gonna believe that.
Right.
But that's why it was like, oh, it's just two laws. How do you answer that?
Oh my.
He just summed it up for you, dummies.
Exactly. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. We'll go to chapter 15.
I'm
We'll
gonna mute
go
myself.
to the
I said I'm gonna
Okay.
mute myself. Go ahead.
All right. And we'll go to that verse. And this is going over sacrifices and offerings. And this is how you sanctify the firstling of the clean cattle and offer it up. And many folks don't realize that this is law. Okay. All the firstling males that come of thy herd and of thy flock, thou shalt sanctify unto the Lord thy Elohim. Thou shalt do no work with the firstling of thy bullock, nor shear the firstling of thy sheep. So the bullock is a baby small bull, and the little baby sheep, right? So they are going to be sanctified, and this goes under the sacrifices and offerings. Maybe folks did not realize this. Let's go to the book of Exodus. We got a lot going on in Exodus of these laws. And let's see. We got chapter 12. Yeah, let's go to chapter 12 in Exodus. And let's see. The first, we can go verse 6, then we'll go to verse 8. Let me click on to make it big for you to see. And ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. Okay. They're talking about when you slay the paschal lamb. Okay. And now we jump to verse 8. So we'll go to 7, go to 8. Okay. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Okay, this I'm talking about eating the flesh of the Passion lamb sacrifice on the night of the 15th of Nisan. So this is that meal you're gonna have for Passover. Okay, folks, that's what that is in a nutshell. Okay, then it says verse 9. We'll go to verse 10. So verse 9, eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire his head with his legs. It tells you to roast the whole entire lamb. See, like a rotisserie style, tied up on that stick over fire, like you see in the little old school cartoons. Turn that stick around on all the sides to cook evenly. Rotisserie that thing on that good old fire is with his head and his legs and with the pertinence thereof, right? Okay, so it tells you. I mean, you really can't go wrong here. Okay, verse 10. All right. And this is telling you and describing you when it comes to sacrifice and offerings, okay, which have not stopped. They are still supposed to go ongoing. Not to leave any portion of the flesh of the Paschal lamb sacrifice until the morning unconsumed, okay? And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. Cut and dry, okay? So these are the proper way that they did these in the days of old, in ancient biblical days, okay? We're still in biblical days, but these were the ancient biblical days, okay? Back around BC era, all right? Just to give you an example. Now, let's go to verse 43. This one right here. I think this is going to catch your eye right here. Okay, because it's catching mine. Let's see. All right, so this is 43. Make it bigger for you. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat of. Am I looking at this right? It says 40, is that 45 or 43? Okay. Let me go to 45. Let's see. That's not there must be a typo here on the shower. That's fine. Okay, so now we went over some food on how to sacrifice those animals. Let's jump to that one already. Let's just go to Leviticus. Yeah, let's go to the book of Leviticus, chapter 4. And let's go to the verse 27 and 28. Now I'm going to make it big. Okay, I'm going to read 27 and verse 28. And if any one of the common people sin through ignorance, while he doeth somewhat against any of the commandments of the Lord concerning things which ought not to be done, and be guilty, or if his sin which he hath sinned come to his knowledge, then he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats. What does that mean? A kid is another word for a baby goat. Okay, newborn baby. A female without blemish. Oh, it must be a female. Without blemish means no marks, no bumps, no bruises. Okay, for his sin which he hath sinned. Okay, this is telling you what kind of animal to use for your sin offering. Okay, you really can't go wrong. It's spelling everything out. Okay, now let's go to Leviticus chapter 2, verse 11. I wonder if you found this interesting. Okay, and this is verse chapter 2. Am I seeing that right? Okay, and verse 11. Let's see. No meat offering which ye shall bring unto the Most High shall be made with leaven. Okay, leaven agents are your yeast. All right, to make that dough rise. He don't want no yeast, no tree, no egg. For ye shall burn no leaven. Okay, nor any honey, and any offering of the Most High made by fire. Okay, so Don't put any honey on your offering, okay? You can't do that, all right? This is law, okay? And if you're going to use bread, it's always going to be that flat bread, okay? It's not going to be any bread with leaven, no buns and loaves of bread and stuff like that. It's going to be the unleavened bread only. That's only what we're working with over there, okay? And if you go over there to those regions, I bet you can't find no bread with yeast around over there. All the bread flat, okay? So I felt that interesting. You can't even offer up honey, as sweet as honey is, okay? Don't do it. It ain't worth it. Now let's jump to verse 13. We talked about honey, okay? And the leavening agent. Now check this out. And every oblation of thy meat offering shalt thou season with salt. Neither shalt thou suffer the salt of the covenant of thy Elohim to be lacking from thy meat offering. With all thine offerings thou shalt offer salt. So Mattiyahu, this is why that lady we saw in that video, the spouse of one of the IUIC members, she only put salt on her lamb. Bless her heart. She must have read that and said, I can only use salt. I can't use anything else to season the meat.
She probably read what? What happened?
Probably read this verse right here. In every oblation of thy meat offering shalt thou season with salt. Neither shalt thou suffer the salt of the covenant of thy Elohim to be lacking from thy meat offering. With all thine offerings thou shalt offer salt.
Oh, he's saying with it offer salt, not that's the only thing. I think there is a scripture that speaks to that outside of that one, but I can't remember if it says only salt, but it do say during the Passover, like you put salt on it. But we gotta remember, and we got this stuff called Lawries. That's seasoned salt. We got Himalayan salt. It don't have to be just the plain Jane Morton salt.
Right.
I don't show me. You gotta unless your salt was made with unclean food, you should be okay with your seasoning.
That's right.
So yeah, I don't know of any laws that say you got to eat plain Jane food.
Right.
I you know what I'm saying? I don't like Karen seasoning. I like
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I like my ethnic seasonings.
There you go.
But what do I know? I digress. Go ahead, sis.
We're going to go ahead to the book of Leviticus, chapter 21. And we're going to go to, we'll go ahead and go to verse 6. We're going to go to verse 7. And a couple of these here. So go to verse 6 here. Make it big. They shall be holy unto their Elohim and not profane the name of their Elohim. For the offerings of the Lord made by fire and the bread of their God, they do offer. Therefore, they shall be holy. Who was they? This is talking about the Levites, the priests. Okay? These are going over. And now let's go to the next verse 7. The Levites is what we're talking about, okay, folks? They shall not take a wife that is a whore or profane, neither shall they take a woman put away from her husband, for he is holy unto his Elohim. So if a woman has been divorced, that's what that means. They put away from their husband, right? And if she is a whore, okay? So if you're a reformed whore, I don't know if you have a chance with them or not. I think it means period, ever, right? You couldn't have been at that level. Okay. Let's go to verse 8. This is talking about the priesthood, the Levites, okay? Thou shalt sanctify him, therefore, when he offereth the bread of thy Elohim, he shall be holy unto thee. For I am Yahweh, which sanctify you, am holy. For I, the Lord, which sanctify you, am holy. Okay. Now let's go ahead and go over the subject of poor. So let's go to the 19th chapter of Leviticus. And let's go to the 10th verse. And okay, we got a few, about 3 listed here. I make it big for everyone to see. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and stranger. I am the Lord your Elohim. Okay. So this is kind of letting you know that don't gather with food fall on the ground. Let the poor have it, right? And the needy and those who are probably travelers sojourning into your town and are hungry and need a meal. Leave that for them to get. Is what that says, okay? And let's go to, do you go to verse 9? Or to verse 10? Yeah, so that's it. Something as that one. Exodus 22. Book of Exodus, chapter 22. And verse 21. And I will make it bigger for the screen. Okay, thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for ye were strangers in the land of Mitzrayim. What do you think that means, Matiyahu? Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I was just about to step away. Would you ask me?
What does that mean? This verse here, Exodus chapter 22, verse 21. Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for ye were strangers in the land of Mitzrayim. What do you think that means?
And to sum it up, like just show them love if you if you're stranger. Don't be stupid with it. Like, but be open to listen to them and don't oppress them. Because we were strangers in the land of Egypt before the
Captivity.
Right now, there you go. Thank you. Before
I take it as like treat others the way you want to be treated. We know how it felt when we was in captivity and in bondage in Mitzrayim. How we were treated. So it's like treat people with respect, whether they're a stranger,
right?
Coming to the land of some of another nation. Like you ain't gotta really rub salt in the wound.
Yeah, don't be violent to them. Like like kind of see what like where they coming from and stuff.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess y'all's on the same thought process. But you can go ahead. I know you said you had to step away.
Yeah, I was going to just say that word vex right there would has to be something that people would look up. It's yana in the Hebrew.
Uh-huh.
And let's see. What is let me go to the Strong's 3238 definition of that. It's like to not be violent and stuff, but that don't mean you can't bust their head open if they come with the nonsense. That what I said was 3238. Strong's 3238. See, like vex. With this, pull up vex in the English.
Thought vex meant like anger.
Something like that, yeah.
To irritate, to annoy, to provoke, to torment, to trouble, to distress, to plague, to weary someone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To discuss or to debate, to disturb by motion, to stir up, to toss about.
Okay.
To afflict with physical pain.
There you go. That's the one I was looking for. Like oppressing them and afflicting them with pain and stuff. Let's see, 3238. I think that's the one that, let's see right here. 3238 is yana, like I said, to rage or be violent, to suppress, to maltreat, destroy, thrust out, oppress, proud, do violence. So don't be violent to them. Don't be just because they thou shalt not So let's kind of put this all in context with Exodus, right? Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Remember they always was told to flee to Egypt. Wasn't not Abraham.
Abraham was told to move there a lot.
Okay, Abraham was told to move there a lot, but who else? The Messiah and his parents, right?
Yes.
They told him to go to Egypt. Yeah. So think about it like this. All right, we got customs and stuff over here, right? How we do it over here. And then you got somebody else coming over here that don't do it like that. They may do it different. So he like, don't just because they doing it different, don't be about to bust them in the head because they look at it different. Like that dude tried to condemn me to hell last night.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah, they Christians. I'm an Israelite. I'm a stranger in your land. Don't vex me already. You know what I'm saying? You want to be violent. You want to condemn me to hell. And I told that brother, you going the same measurement that you judging with, you better be ready to be judged by the same measurement. And his own people condemned him.
Wow.
His own Christian folks was like, come on, man. Because I came in peace, but he wanted to go to war. And then when my sword came out, he wasn't ready. Yeah. He was like, no, I wasn't ready. Fair use Kevin Hart. But he's like, no, pineapples, I wasn't ready. So, but yeah, so that's what that is, right? Think about it. Somebody come into your customs, right? This how we do it in Texas. This how we do it in Virginia. This how we do it in New York. Okay, well, I'm from DC or I'm from Arizona or whatever. My customs is a little different. Okay, you're a stranger, right? That makes you a stranger. You're not following the rules or regulations of how we do things. You're a stranger. Let me not stone you to death because you may have inadvertently broke one of our customs or laws, statutes, or commandments. Let me not bust you in the head right away. Let me not be violent to you. Let me not oppress you for that. That's what they're talking about right there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. All right, let me go to the book of Deuteronomy and chapter 20. We'll talk about these wars. So we'll go to verse 10.
Are you talking about wars? Okay, I might sit down for this one a little bit.
These war laws, yeah. I figured guys would like this one right here. These war laws, okay. Matter of fact, they got one also in verse 2. So let me go to verse 2 and go over that one as well. And then we'll jump to 10.
Sure, okay.
All right, verse 2. And it shall be when ye are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people. Okay, so to anoint a special priest to speak to the soldiers in a war. But that's law, okay?
What is that? Let's see. I'm sorry. And it shall be when ye are come nigh into battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people. Oh yeah, that's just like the saying that priest or whatever. He won't speak to the people. They're going to war. I'm trying to think of somebody that would be like a modern day. Like when you go to war and stuff like that, you always have like a pastor with you or a rabbi.
That's tight. They had that, like
because
these days.
And so they're gonna pray. Heavenly Father, Most High, we come to you humbly. Please protect my troops and give us the power to win this battle. We may not want it to go to war this way, but unfortunately, we have no choice,
right? Or
something like that. Or he may have come. And in those times, the Most High was speaking to damn near everybody. It seems they was more pure back then.
That's right.
And they were still closer to pureness. The trees and the water and the fruits and all that was closer to pureness. The animals were closer to pureness. So the laws were being more followed now than they are. Then than they are now. So
that's
he
right.
Probably spoke to them, and they had those priests praying, and when they started to pray, and they know how to pray and what to say to waken those spirits up and activate those brews to to unravel that strength that just a regular person just don't have. Because in most of their wars, I do believe they was outnumbered.
Right.
Sometimes by the tens, the hundreds, sometimes by the thousands. They was outnumbered going to war with these cats, man. And I'm gonna pull up just to prove that. I'm gonna pull up a scripture. I'm gonna tell you pull up the scripture right there.
Is it in this same chapter?
I think so. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
Well, this one right here, Exodus 1:9 is what I was thinking of when he was talking about how the Israelites are more stronger than we are, but I think they had more people than them too in that case. But it's been a lot of times where, because the Israelites, they've been trying to kill them all for such a long time. You don't have to go to it, but there's some verses out there that show in the book of Maccabees, they was outnumbered and people don't.
You said really 1:9.
Yeah, Exodus 1:9 started like 7, I think. Yeah, and the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them at that time. Next verse. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. So this king didn't know Joseph's in Egypt. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. So right here, he's just saying that there's more of them, right? Because they kept multiplying, right? They was popping out babies like it was nothing. But then he was saying they're mightier than them. They're not mightier than them because it's just more of them. It's just because remember, when they go to war, I mean,
they stronger too.
Yeah, they was just a stronger people. That's why they kept trying to put them into captivity over and over and over again. They try to build these nations up, to do all of their manual labor and stuff like that. But yeah, you can go back to your. I was going to step away for a minute, but this is good. I like this. This is cool. Thank you for presenting this. I tried to invite some folks, but I guess they got scared of the topic.
Yep, that's usually the case. That is usually the case. They get uncomfortable. So I'm going to go to the book of Deuteronomy, go to chapter 20, and I'm going to go over verse 16 and 17. Okay. And then we'll jump to 19 and verse 20 in the same chapter. And again, these are the war laws. Okay. But of the cities of these people, which the Lord thy God doth give thee for an inheritance, thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth. Okay. That's verse 16. In other words, not to keep alive any individual of the 7 Canaanite nations. Okay. Now let's go to verse 17. Okay. But thou shalt utterly destroy them, namely the Hittites and the Amorites, the Canaanites and the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, as the Most High thy Elohim have commanded thee. Okay. This tells you to exterminate the 7 Canaanite nations from the land of Israel. That is law, and that's lawful. That's why you can't find anything about the Hittites in history. Oh, they've been wiped out. They was doing what the law said, okay? So it tells you, from the Most High, you are to destroy the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and the Perizzites. The Perizzites. I didn't mean to be, I was trying to be facetious. The Hivites and the Jebusites, okay? And we're told that for a reason, to keep that in mind, okay? And now we're going to jump to verse 19 and 20. When thou shalt besiege a city a long time and make a war against it to take it, thou shalt not destroy the trees thereof, no tree, no egg, by forcing an axe against them. For thou mayest eat of them, and thou shalt not cut them down. For the tree of the field is man's life, to employ them in the siege. Okay. And then we will go to the next verse and kind of sum it up. Okay. Only the trees which thou knowest that they be not trees for meat, thou shalt destroy and cut them down, and thou shalt build bulwarks against the city that maketh war with thee until it be subdued. So, not to destroy the fruit trees, okay? Wantonly or in warfare. That's the law, okay? Now, if we go to Deuteronomy, let's go to the 21st chapter, okay? It's all about war. We talk about war. Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely. All right, so now we'll go to verse 10, and we'll go all the way to verse 14, okay? And again, this is during war. Let's see if you find this interesting. We're going to read from 10 to 14, okay? When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Most High Yah hath delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldst have her to thy wife, then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails. Goodness. And she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. Okay. And verse 14. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will, but thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her. Don't be pimping your wife out, because thou hast humbled her. Okay. Now, when you break it all down, it's saying not to sell a beautiful woman taken captive in war. Okay. And do not degrade a beautiful woman taken into captive in war to the condition of a bondwoman. Don't treat her like a slave, folks, okay? That's what's going on, right? Now we're going to jump to
So we get to
23 of
keep her.
Deuteronomy. Huh?
We get to keep her as ours.
Yes, you can if that's what you want to do, your heart's desire. But just don't mistreat her. Don't treat her, beneath then, okay? It's all it's saying.
Okay.
Those who are single, who are free to marry, not the ones who are already married. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Got you. I'll be back. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's verse 7. Let's make it a little bit bigger for the eye, because people like me are blind. All right. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land. Abhor. Let's see what abhor means. I can tell you, but what if you don't believe me? I'm going to show you the facts, okay? Let's go with the dictionary says online.
Abhor. Abhor.
That's how you pronounce it, okay? To regard with extreme repugnance or aversion, to detest utterly, to loathe, to abominate. In my definition, I was going to say abhor means to hate, pretty much. Okay? Let's see. Another word, despise. 4 synonyms. So see, pretty much you despise, you hate, you loathe. Like, oh, I loathe them. Oh, I detest them. They're an abominable. Okay. Now let's go put it back in context. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian. Okay, we're not to hate the Egyptians. We're not to hate an Edomite because thou was a stranger in his land. Okay, so we're a stranger in Egypt, and we are a stranger in Edomite land. We know what that is. Okay, so this right here is also saying not to mistreat them, but not to hate them, not to despise them. Okay, now let's see, let's go to verse 11. That's another law of war. What is it good for? Okay, and then we'll go over verse 13. All right. But it shall be when evening cometh on, he shall wash himself with water, and when the sun is down, he shall come into the camp again. Okay, and that was verse 11. All right, so verse 11 in a nutshell is saying that anyone who is unclean shall not enter the camp of the Levites. No uncleanness can be around the Levites. They are the priests. They are holy. They're trying to keep the sanctuary holy at all times and completing the rituals and sacrifices to keep it remain that way. Don't bring your little dirty behind up there in the camp with the Israelites. Take that somewhere else, okay? No uncleanness around the Levites. All right. Now we're gonna jump to verse 13 and go through 15, and then I'll be done with the war stuff. Okay. And thou shalt have a paddle upon thy weapon, and it shall be when thou wilt ease thyself abroad, thou shalt dig therewith, and shalt turn back and cover that which cometh from thee. Verse 14. For the Most High walketh in the midst of thy camp to deliver thee and to give up thine enemies before thee. Therefore shall thy camp be holy, HaKodesh, that he see no unclean thing in thee and turn away from thee. Verse 15. Thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto thee. Okay, let's put it all in context. Verse 13 was to have a place outside the camp for sanctuary purposes. Okay, verse 14 and 15 is saying to keep that place sanitary, right? In other words, clean. All right, no filthiness going on. Okay, and that is just some of those war laws. And again, there's many more. This is just part one. We will have part two coming, and it'll get more juicier and juicier and juicier. Okay. Someone that will go over next time will be men may not lie with beasts, not to have relations with another man's wife, not to have relations with a menstruating woman, not to have relations with one's wife, one's brother's wife, wife of your father, one's mother, sister. A man may not lie carnally with his father's brother. A man may not lie carnally with his father. Okay. A mamzer may not have relations with Jews. A mamzer may not have relations with Jews, and we'll go what a mamzer is, just in case people are not under the don't understand it. And Jews are the tribe of Judah. Okay. Not to castrate a man or a beast. You're not supposed to cut off the man's member. Okay, that goes to you too, female. Don't get mad and try to take revenge and do that. It's not good. It's a law. You're breaking the law by doing that. There's no reason to do that. Okay, just walk away, move on. If you break your heart. Okay, not appointing a non-Israelite born king. You are not to appoint a non-Israelite to be a king, and he has to be Israelite born. Okay. A king not owning many horses, a king not taking many wives. A king has one wife. You don't need multiple. A king not amassing great personal wealth. Okay. You're not to curse any Israelite. So all you mistreating Israelites, beware, beware, beware. If that person has Israelite blood in them, you are going to have a rude awakening. Okay. Do not detract from the written or oral law. Not detracting from written or oral law. Okay. Not to curse a ruler. Do not curse your parents. Not smitting parents. You don't supposed to be hitting your parents. Smit means to kill. So you're not allowed to kill your parents. You kill your parents, that's a law you're breaking. Not to work on the Sabbaths, okay? Not to go beyond the city limits on the Sabbath. You don't punch anyone on the Sabbath. You don't give nobody a spank on the Sabbath, okay? Let's see. The next time, not to bear a grudge. Do not take vengeance on another. Do not hate another Jew. You are not supposed to hate the Jews. Do not hate another Jew. The real Jews, not the Jew-esh. Esh doesn't pertain to your faith. It's not the real Jews. The real Jews are the Israelites. Okay? They're not those ones over there living in the country now. It doesn't mean the tribe of Israel from the whole country called Israel. No. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. He was Negro. So all his Negro 12 sons that continue to have Negro kids, those are the Israelites. Those are the facts. They are the Jews. Not killing a murderer without trial. Not killing a human being. Not bearing false witness. Not appointing an unlearned judge. These laws, I'm telling you, man. Judge not to receive testimony from a litigant's relatives. Judge not to receive a wicked man's testimony. Okay, no capital punishment based on circumstantial evidence. These are all laws. Okay, not sparing the life of a pursuer. Okay, not punishing a person for a sin committed under duress. You are not to accept ransom from an unwitting murderer. Okay. And these are just not to put another to shame. Okay. Not to shave the skull. Okay. Not to cut or cauterize signs of leprosy. Not plowing a valley where Eglah or Rufa was done. Not permitting to sorcerer to live. Oh, not permitting a sorcerer to live. Was a sorcerer, a witch, right? Someone doing magic spells and chanting and all them tarot card readers and fortune tellers, a musician, all that sorcery is paganistic, it's satanic. It's not of the Most High. Okay. Not taking bridegroom from home during the first year. Okay. Not to differ from traditional authorities. Not to add to the written or oral law. Ooh, not enslaving a captive woman, not selling a captive woman. Oh my, they get real juicy now. They're gonna hurt their feelings. Okay, gonna hurt their feelings. But yeah, next time gonna be real good. We got a lot of good stuff here with these laws. Not stealing money, do not commit robbery. No, not fraudulently altering land boundaries, not usurping our debts, not to swear falsely and repudiating our debts. Okay, telling you how to do good and ethical business. Okay, you can't be taking advantage of people. Okay, not lending at interest. We're not supposed to be charging Israelites and Jews interest. Okay, not borrowing interest, not participating in a loan at interest, not impressing an employee by delaying payment of his wages. Don't delay the people checks and their money. Pay them on time. Not to eat meat cooked in milk. We are not to eat meat cooked in milk. Or we are not supposed to cook meat in milk. Okay, these are laws. We're not to eat blood. This is law. Do not eat the blood. Okay. Do not eat fresh ears of grain. Do not eat the flesh of a stone ox. Why would you stone an ox? Okay. Do not eat or drink anything in excess. Okay. So that's just a little snippet what we can go over next time when we get together and when we link up. Okay. And again, this is part 1 of the laws. And we will have part 2 coming up soon. I appreciate you joining in. Feel free to like and subscribe if your heart desires. Feel free to comment. Feel free to bring that smoke. Feel free to debate. We welcome it all. This is a free channel for you to talk, get your thoughts out there, say your opinions. You can say smooth things, rough things. We can take it all. It's no problem. We will never block you from this channel. We will never remove you or mute you. You can talk. If anything, we'll be muting ourselves. But we like that's how you really get dialogue going. We're gonna go live every day and put pre-recorded videos as well every day. So you'll see more and more content. Share with your friends and family members that you feel that can probably benefit from this and everything. We're all about building, growing together, and strengthening our community. And one day, when that sky crack open, hope to see you all there. Hope we all can make it to the next level. Okay, a lot of great stuff to share with you in the near future, so stay tuned. Again, shalom. We appreciate you, and you take care and have a good day. Shalom.